Whoa, it's the illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. This is a cool vibe, man. You know, I met these 4 high school kids today who wanted to meet me and have a cup of coffee. They're local in the area, and they bought a piece of art, and I happened to go down and skate in Venice. It was a perfect alignment of stuff, and I talked to this young hip-hop artist on the way there who's part of the high frequency tribe. I'm going to give a shout out to Geaceflow. I'll put a link down to his channel. He's got some he's one of us, man. He's putting the frequency out there. So I was hanging out with these high school kids, right? Chatting, and they out there, what do you think about the aliens? And I was like, interesting question. Because once upon a time, I used to be about like the aliens. You know what I mean? Like the Greys and the reptilians and what they're all about and the whole thing. And the more and more I moved along in this journey of waking up, I'm pretty sure the alien is inside of us. Because I was explaining it, talking to these kids, and it was sort of an ad lib I had. So it was coming from like an unfiltered place. And basically what I was talking about was the voice inside our head is the imposter, is the thing that appears to be us, talks like us, appears to think like us, convinces us to do all sorts of things all day long, and sits around and has us attached to all these aspects of the 3D world and the 5 senses. And I was talking about how the concept of the aliens from outer space, the extraterrestrial, is a decoy issue because it's all about out there. It's all about these things are out there. And I was like, what if the alien is inside of us and it's the ego or the voice inside our head and it's pretending to be us? Like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. If you haven't seen the movie Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the one with Donald Sutherland is my favorite. 1970s, man. They could make a creepy movie, couldn't they? And so, what if the ego is the alien presence? And the ego is attached to this multidimensional vampiric thing. And the true self, the spiritual self, the beam of light, which is multidimensional on a higher dimensional level than this lower dimensional ego stuff, is battling within us. And that's what waking up is, right? Well, I think when we truly wake up, we begin to shed the ego. We begin to not listen to the voice inside our head. We begin to realize that the talking that's going on all the time inside our head is just that, chitter chatter, chitter chatter. And some of you may be like, what is this mullet master talking about? And this is an exercise you can do, because if you haven't become the observer of your thoughts, if you haven't identified the voice inside your head, the alien still has its tentacles woven into the fabric of your perception of reality. So what you can do is you can go get into a nice quiet space, maybe out in the woods, maybe in your room, turn off all the lights, turn off all the music and televisions and all that stuff. And just get real quiet. Just get quiet. And just listen to the talking that your head is doing. It'll be in there and it'll be going, you know, this is stupid. We should be doing this. We should turn on the lights, put the music back on. Maybe we need to smoke a joint. Maybe we don't need to smoke a joint. Maybe we need to think about that girl from 15 years ago, that girl we want to be tomorrow, or that wife that's in the other room, or we want to think about trees or books or television shows or whatever. It'll just keep talking. And the goal is not to really listen to what it says in like a direct way, but listen to it. And once you're listening to it, the talking inside your head, just ask yourself, who is listening to that? And if you can be the person listening to that, you'll have the separation and you can go, whoa, who's doing all the talking? And if I'm the one observing the talking inside my head and listening to it, who's doing the talking? Whoa. Because meditation and most of the spiritual tenets and all the spiritual practices are all talking about kind of quieting the voice inside your head. They describe it in various different ways because that's the alien, from what I can tell. Because as long as I'm looking out there, as long as I think some green dude with slanted eyes is coming from outer space in a VW bus, I can't pay any attention to what's really going on inside of me. As long as I'm tripping about all this out here, I'm not focused on who's the person inside of me doing the chitter chatter all day long. Chitter chatter. And so once I began to identify that and realize that the voice inside my head is the one that's putting all the labels on me. It's the one telling me that I'm late. It's the one telling me I'm early. It's the one telling me I'm sitting in traffic. It's the one telling me that I don't have enough money. I have too much money. If only I had a Bentley, everything would be fine. I need this, I need that. I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that. Once I don't listen to that and I truly act as a spiritual beam of light and connect to source, that voice doesn't have any power on me, right? Now, where that voice is coming from, you know, is it the ego? You know, I've listened to some interesting talks by this guy, Michael Tsarian. I think it's Michael Tsarian, who talks about how the ego is a defense mechanism for a great cataclysm that traumatized humanity, 10,000 years ago or something. It has something to do with the stone structures all around the planet. That's my trip, dude. Like, I don't think we need to look off-world and be like, ooh, we're sitting in these crazy bags of water on this crazy blue ball of water floating around in a vacuum that's called outer space. Do we need to be any more far out than that? Does it need to be any crazier than that? And then you throw in lions and tigers and airplanes and machine guns and nuclear bombs and trucks and cars and perfect surf and skate parks, dude. Does it need to be any more crazy and far out in sci-fi than that? Because that's what I started to really notice once I shut down listening to the voice inside my head and began observing this thing, the matrix, this 3D 5 sense landscape that I inhabit, was like, this is pretty sci-fi, man. I mean, I'm living in a sci-fi novel right now. Yeah, I take it for granted I'm sitting in traffic after skateboarding and meeting some guys for coffee. But dude, 100 years ago, I would have been doing this all on a horse. I wouldn't have had a skateboard. Probably wouldn't have been drinking any coffee. Probably would have died of some sort of crazy disease early on, man. So I look at this, I'm in like a perfectly good vehicle. I'm talking on some iPhone to myself that's gonna get broadcast through a satellite to all of you. Aliens? Dude, the aliens inside my head trying to convince me to smoke weed or drink alcohol. Not that dude, do your own thing. That's not my point. My point is, I already know what the alien wants me to do to turn me into a slave. So I don't think we need to look in outer space for aliens. I think the alien is sitting in the center of our heads, talking to you about some crummy relationship that affected your life from 15 years ago and how you're never gonna get the new girl or whatever, the new car, whatever it tells you, dude. But try the exercise. Try becoming the observer of your thoughts. And once you become the observer of your thoughts, and you can be like, who's doing all the talking? I suggest that that is the alien presence. Just what I was thinking about, walking around the world with a mullet on my head.